Howdy everyone, it's Sam. I hope you're all doing really well. If you're new around here, I hope I can get you to consider liking the content and subscribing to the channel. And if you are a regular around these here parts, thank you very much for the continuous support. And for those who are new around here, here's the deal. North Queensland Cowboys are way far beyond my favorite team. They are everything to me. However, when the off season comes about in the NRL, the brand new season for the NFL starts up. And there is no better team in the NFL than the Seattle Seahawks. They are pretty much my second love in all of sport. And I chose to cover them in bits and drabs last year. There's going to be a much better, more conservative effort to really take on the NFL and talk about it with all of you guys. And boy, howdy, what a year to start talking about NFL last year in arguably the greatest season of all time, let alone it being the longest one ever. At the end of the year in my Super Bowl live chat, not only was I joined by Entertain House, BKR Sport, I was joined by then, it wasn't known then, by co-captain of the North Queensland Cowboys, Chad Townsend. What's going to happen in this season of NFL? Well, it kicks off in September. And what I'm going to do for you guys this morning today is do a live reaction of the Seattle Seahawks schedule. I have not seen it. I've had to pull it up on the website, and I've had to just block it all out until pretty much right now. So again, if you're new around here, I really hope you can consider liking and subscribing to the channel. So I'll just bring myself in to see how it looks here on the screen. All right, we're good to go. Alrighty, so we got the preseason, and the Seattle Seahawks are off to Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll tell you what, if it's not the New England Patriots, it's the bloody Pittsburgh Steelers that boils my blood, fair dinkum. So it's a trip off to Heinz Field. Week 2 is Chicago Bears. Week 3, Dallas Cowboys. And then it's the regular season. So there's 3 preseason games for the Seattle Seahawks. And one of them is at home and 2 of them away. The one that's at home, we are going to be hosting the Chicago Bears. Now, for just the uninitiated, for the people that don't know what happened, I've chosen not to speak about it, though, up until now. Seattle Seahawks, Russell Wilson, got taken away by the Denver Broncos. Bobby Wagner has left for greener pastures, the Los Angeles Rams, and that's it. I'm pretty sure that's it for the Super Bowl champions, Seattle Seahawk winning team. There's no more. It is a completely new era out there at Seattle, and there is a massive, massive game that's happening. Sometime we're about to find out. Denver Broncos versus the Seattle Seahawks at Lumen Field. When's that going to be? We're about to find out. So, week number 1, what's going to happen? Denver Broncos, Monday Night Football, the very first game. Oh man, they didn't wait long. See, it's so big of a contest that they could have had it as the opening game of the regular season, but it's the first Monday Night Football game of the year. Russell Wilson's return to Seattle. Gee whiz, that's going to be such an emotionally charged game. Jeez, and thank goodness down here in Australia, we will be able to see it. It's not just going to be one of them other 14, 13 games that you don't get to see unless if you fork out over $150 for the NFL Network pass. Gee whiz. But it will be seen live here in Australia on KO Sports, and I think even on 7 Mate as well. So, gee whiz, I'd be I'd be taking everything off that day. And tickets are available now if you're thinking about attending. And that's going to be the hottest ticket in town for sure. Wow, Denver Broncos Week 1 coming to Lumen Field in Seattle. What a way to start the year! Wow. All right. So Week 2, where are we off to? It looks like we're off to San Francisco. So the old rival, if you don't know, Seattle Seahawks' biggest rival in the NFL is the is the San Francisco 49ers. And we're off to San Fran at Levi Stadium in week number 2. So that's a blockbuster fortnight to start the 2022 season. What happens in week 3? The Atlanta Falcons come to Lumen Field, and that's a nice little that's just a, with all due respect to any Atlanta Falcons fans out there, it's a nice little dip. It just get no games easy, but it's a bit nicer for us. And that's going to be on a Sunday afternoon, Seattle time, Monday morning here in Australia, about 5:30, 3 a.m. in the morning sort of thing. Week number 4, we are off to Detroit, and Detroit Lions on a Sunday, 10 a.m. Seattle time. Detroit, their draft was pretty good, and they showed great signs. It looks like it's going to be me versus BKR. So just off the top of my head, maybe he and I could maybe do a live match preview. Maybe the Dodo Bird won't stuff around with the internet connection this time around. So they're off to Detroit. So the first 4 weeks, it's 2 home games and 2 away games. And what's week 5 bring? We're away. So we're away to we're away to the New Orleans Saints down there at the Caesars Superdome. And that's our first back-to-back away trip. Maybe it may be the only one. Maybe it might be the only one. But that's early on in the season. If it's the only one, that'd be great. So off to Detroit, then down to New Orleans. And New Orleans, they're going to be weird this year, man. They're going to be weird. Then week 6, so that's besides Monday, we're playing all our games in the Sunday time slot. And week number 6, the Arizona Cardinals, arguably our bogey team until we beat them last year ourselves in one of the final weeks of the year. Arizona Cardinals coming out to Lumen Field, so that's always a good battle with the Cardinals. Week 7, we then travel down to SoFi Stadium to take on the Los Angeles Chargers in another Sunday afternoon time slot out there in Seattle. Week 8, that's another Sunday afternoon game. And that time we are hosting the New York Giants. No worries. So how many weeks is it between drinks? So week 6, Arizona Cardinals, and then week 9, it's Arizona Cardinals. So it's only a month where we have a break in between matches against the Arizona Cardinals. And week 9 here is another Sunday afternoon game down there at State Farm Stadium in Phoenix, Arizona. And Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is the one. So week 10, on the 13th of November, they have taken their game to, Allianz Arena in Munich, Germany, the first ever NFL game to be hosted in Germany. And I'd like to think that somewhere out there here in Australia, there is some sort of petition, there is some sort of movement to try and get an NFL game here in the land down under. And I reckon if it was to happen, you'd have to have it as some sort of as sort of like a two-leg weekend. I'd say you've got to bring down the Las Vegas Raiders. They are such a massive brand, and you see Raiders shirts and jerseys and headgear a lot of the time, especially around sporting festivals. I reckon if you're up there at Magic Round there in Brisbane this weekend, I reckon you'll find a Raiders shirt, a Las Vegas Raiders shirt. I think Seattle is one of the more supported teams in all of NFL here in Australia as well. And then if you're watching this, leave your comments down the comment section below. Who would you like to see come down to Australia if there was to ever be an NFL game in Australia? And I think they'd be daft if England are going to get some games, if Germany is going to get a game between Seattle and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think Australia could be on the cusp of hosting its first ever NFL game. And I reckon a Raiders versus Seahawks game out there at either, I think Stadium Australia, or Accor Stadium as it's known. I think that'd be the way to go, I reckon. Suncorp Stadium would be pretty cool though, but I'd probably go Accor Stadium, 80,000 fans, fingers crossed anyway. Raiders and Seahawks, but that's talking fantasy land. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Seattle Seahawks. It's technically a Seattle home game as well, out there in Germany. All right, so that's on the 13th of November. How much of a week off do we have? Is it the bye? So it is the bye. Okay, so that was okay, cool. So it is a bye. And then we are back in action against, ironically enough, the Las Vegas Raiders on the 27th of November, another Sunday afternoon game. And it's out there at Lumen Field. So I'll just go back up. So New York Giants we host in week 8 on the 30th of October. And then our next true home game at Lumen Field isn't until the 27th of November. So that's going to be a tough old stretch. And the Raiders, they made their first playoff appearance in quite a number of years last year. And they've re-signed Derek Carr. They've had a really good trade and draft period as well. They've taken one of the Green Bay Packers wide receivers. So that bolsters them up. So they could be a bit of that could be a wild card. They could be a massive wild card, the Raiders, in 2022. And in week 13, the Super Bowl champions, our first matchup against them, the Los Angeles Rams, and we got to travel down to SoFi Stadium on another Sunday game. So we've only got the one primetime game so far, unless if one of these games is the Sunday night football game or game of the round sort of thing. Still haven't seen a Thursday night game, but there's our first clash against the Los Angeles Rams in week 13 on the 4th of December. Week 14, Carolina Panthers come out to play out there at Lumen Field. Week 15, San Francisco 49ers are coming to Seattle on a Thursday night game. Right on, man. Right on. It's one of the best rivalries in the NFL, San Francisco and Seattle. It really is. And to see it on the Thursday night primetime slot, that's awesome. That's a great W for the Seattle Seahawks. And we move on to week 16. And there's a Saturday game. There have been some Saturday games, but so we got a Saturday game against the Kansas City Chiefs. And I know that Mr. Entertain House is a Kansas City Chiefs fan, so maybe that can be another one where we can sort of dissect and preview for you guys. And that's a 10 a.m. kickoff out there in Kansas City. Week 17, the penultimate round of NFL. The New York Jets. And the New York Jets, they had arguably the best draft of anyone last week or a couple of weeks ago. The New York Jets coming to Lumen Field on Sunday. And then the final round is the Los Angeles Rams out there at Lumen Field, and with a date to be determined as well. And to see if there's anything at the bottom here. No, that's it. So there is a month of footy where Seattle Seahawks are away from Lumen Field, which includes the trip to Germany and their one and only bye for the year. And there is that back-to-back away period where they got to travel to Detroit, go down to New Orleans, and then come back. And besides the final couple of games there that you saw, there's no other back-to-back away matches for the rest of the year. But there are a couple of back-to-back games at home to finish or to round out the year. So you've got Jets and Rams at Lumen Field. Kansas City Chiefs is going to be the final away game for the Seattle Seahawks. So 3 of the last 4, 4 of the last 5. So 4 of the last 5 are going to be at home at Lumen Field, and there's a lot of experts, a lot of pundits out there that don't have Seattle going very, very high, very, very far in 2022. Well, we're going to prove you wrong. We're going to prove you wrong, and we're going to nab a wild card spot, Seattle Seahawks, and I'm happy with that draw. A lot of Sunday afternoon games, but considering the predicament that we found ourselves in last year and the predicament that we do find ourselves in this season, I'm happy with one Thursday night game against the San Francisco 49ers. I'm happy that so many eyes are going to be on this Monday night footy game. I cannot express enough to you all how big this Denver Broncos game at Lumen Field on Monday Night Football is going to be Tuesday morning here in Australia. It's going to be absolutely massive. So that's it. I'm going to go sort of lick all over the rest of the NFL schedule, and I sort of think about if I'll do a video and sort of highlight some of the other better games between other clubs out there for the 2022 NFL season. Thank you all very much for the continuous support. I am so excited for the NFL to start up again this year. She was a beauty last year. There's no reason not to think it's going to be another great season of gridiron footy once more. Everybody, take care. Adios.